Hi everybody, this is Anthea West from dustbunny-studios, and this is a special episode of Redraw. I hope you're all staying safe and sound out there in the big wild world. And also, I really hope you're all finding ways to stay busy and find entertainment. It's just self-isolating can be really hard on the psyche, so it's really good to just try and find ways to be sociable without physically being there. Talk to your friends on Discord or Skype, find some nice videos or group chats or whatever. And I recently released my first graphic novel, The Earthbound God, as a free-to-read webcomic. So this was a book that I made back in 2013, and it was a fantasy drama about two hunters going into a forest to kill a god. And it was my very first big major comic project. I drew it over a span of 9 months, all pencils, inks, and then scanned for a million years into Photoshop and grayscaled and lettered in there. And then I put it together as a 144-page graphic novel, and I've been selling it since. I released it for free, so you can go read it over on Tapastics right now. I have it linked down in this description below. But I thought it would be a really fun idea was to redraw one of the pages from the original book. This is the page I picked, which has the two main characters. This would be kind of close to the very beginning of the book. I was thinking for a while maybe of choosing more exciting page, more plot relevant page, but I also didn't want to do like any spoilers or anything in case any of you actually do want to go off and actually read it yourselves. So I picked just a very kind of standard page. So it was a fun page for me to redraw because there's a lot of good acting and posing there to rework with. The two main characters, Yaya and Isha. So Yaya is the big hairy woman there, and then Isha is the wee one. They were tasked with finding the earthbound god Midge, which was a deer-like creature, and they had to go ahead and basically kill it, take its heart, and then take it back to someone. Because the heart of an earthbound can heal all illnesses and so on. So they're on this mission in the middle of terrible winter to go do this. And it's a fantasy drama, but it's also a bit of a low-key romance as well. Ye and Isha are pretty much married. It was kind of my first venture in some LGBTA literature, and this was back in college before I knew myself that I was bisexual. And this series, working on this, kind of helped me realize that a little bit. Not like instantaneously now, it was a good few years later too I kind of accepted that part of myself, but this certainly helped. One of the biggest compliments I got for this book was that Ye and Isha's relationship was good. They enjoyed the interaction of the two characters, and I wrote them in such a way that they actually do seem to very much care about each other. And they are polar opposites as well. She's loud, proud, chatty, adventurous. She's a veteran of the world. She's been everywhere. She practically knows everyone. She has no fear in socializing or anything like that. While Isha is she's a lot more reserved. She's very quiet, very serious. She really doesn't like crowds, and she really doesn't like meeting new people. It makes her extremely nervous. But she's very all together. She's very responsible. She always pretty much kind of knows what they need to do. She's also very good at hunting. She's very good with her spear. She has like fantastic aim and speed and strength, while Yaya is the tracker of the two, so she's able to pretty much just find what she needs to find. And the two of them just make a really great team. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers about what happens. Their relationship gets tested, and something happens that really tragedy nearly strikes, and I won't say any more, but if you are interested in having a read, I hope you enjoy it. With redrawing this page, one of the biggest things I noticed about the original page is that the lettering, it's really bad. It's straight up bad. I'm not the best at lettering, but I certainly have gotten much better at it in the last few years, and I kind of learned more the importance of lettering, about how you really should think about lettering as you're thumbnailing and as you're sketching, and it should never be an afterthought. You should always keep in mind where your bubbles are and how you're laying out a page and everything. In this redo, I had to rearrange the characters and where their positions are in the panel in the last 3 panels. So in the original, Yaya was on the right and Isha was on the left, but I had to flip them around because Yaya speaks first and then Isha speaks second in all 3 of those panels. The lettering, for it to be clear and things aren't like overlapping in a messy way as they were in the original, Yaya needs to be near her first speech bubble and Isha needs to be near her speech bubble. So I had to rearrange things and just be careful, because like in the original page, I think I really liked the posing and the expressions, and I didn't want to lose that in this redraw, making sure I kept those kind of poses and that matched the fun dialogue while still rearranging them. I didn't want to ruin Yaya's pose in that fourth panel where she's slumping down on the rock dramatically. I didn't want to lose that, but I also did have to switch it around so Yaya was in the background and Isha was in the foreground. But I think it worked in the end. I also changed Isha's pose and expression in the 4th panel, because she originally she was looked like really angry. I'd rather just kind of have her more kind of annoyed and miffed at the situation, because I kind of wanted this to come off as like a bit of an old argument between these two. The original story was in grayscale. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time shading, and in the future the book that I'm working on currently, Imp, is also in grayscale, and it's 260 plus pages. I really want to see where I can cut corners without losing quality. I've been trying to figure out a way, can I make a page not look flat without shading? When I'm close to finishing this comic page, I do a lot of kind of gradients and just kind of graying out certain areas of the page rather than doing my kind of normal shading style on every single page. I'd rather leave that on like really important, very illustrative pages. So it was a fun experiment to see if it works. I think it's okay, but I do feel like it could have used some shading to make it a little less flat. But when the video's finished, you can be the judge. I really like the dialogue on this page. I actually really like the dialogue a lot in this book. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. Normally when you go back to older works, it's kind of like, ew, gross, bleh. And like, yeah, to be fair, the art is kind of bad in a lot of it, and then also like the lettering as well was also really bad. But I think like the overall story and the pacing still really holds up even 7 years later. A lot of the dialogue had a lot of grammatical errors, but I swear to God, this is not me making excuses. That was deliberate, as in this world people are kind of divided in tribes. Long ago they would have all been one tribe. They have this language called the mother tongue, which is the like common language. Everyone can speak this one particular language, but like in this book, everyone's level of being able to speak that language is a little different. Even Ye and Isha themselves, they don't actually speak the same language originally. Isha is from a beach tribe. Her tribe would have lived on beaches and such, and then Ye would have lived on the sea tribe. Her tribe would have actually lived way out into the seas on like floating buildings and boats and so on. And they would have lived primarily out on the ocean, except during certain times of the year when there would be ice, so they'd live on the ice. They both would have had their own certain type of languages, and then when they came together, they spoke the mother tongue. So everyone can speak the mother tongue, but not everyone's particularly good at the mother tongue. So everyone's level of speech comprehension is very different. The grammatical mistakes were that reason. Only like a couple of reviews when the first book first came out pointed out that the grammar could have been better, but I think a lot of other people realised that was intentional. I don't know, you be the judge of it. The Earthbound God will always hold like a really important place in my heart. not just because it helped me to kind of realize who I was, but it also made me, like, I really love making long form stories, and I really love making self-contained stories as well. When I first came out with The Airbound God, I had planned I was going to do a graphic novel every 1 to 2 years and that was my plan. Like, graphic novels are hard, comics are hard, and there's absolutely no way I was going to be able to do that. But you know, you're young and you're in college and you think you can do everything. Yeah, The Earthbound God came out. It happened because I was drawing something and I designed Midge first. Midge is the earthbound deer creature that's in this book, and I actually designed her first, and it kind of came organically from that idea of this design over time. My method of how I wrote this book is very different to how I write now. As in, I didn't really write it. I jumped into it pretty much. I think I remember having like the first half of the book kind of thumbnailed and somewhat written out, but then my ADD happened basically, and I couldn't do more, and I was just like, whatever. And then I just started drawing it and just getting into it. It kind of worked. At least I was able to draw it and work on it, but it's not a way I work now. To be fair, that's actually a very similar method to how I write Fate, but Fate is a very long-term ongoing story, so I guess that doesn't really work with a normal writing method. But with Imp is a lot more strict with how I write it, like with it, because it has a full script and has full thing of thumbnails, and I'm not allowed to actually start drawing it until I have those finished first, which they nearly are. Woohoo, can't wait. How I wrote 7 years ago to how I write now is just very different, but they both work. So I can't really say it was a bad way of writing it. I did finish something. It's just kind of fun to see in your past and see what you were able to do now versus to what you do now. With the finished page, definitely, as I said, the lettering really needed work. I think the way I have it now, with having to rearrange those last 3 panels, the lettering is a lot more clearer and it's a lot easier to read. There's no confusion over who is speaking, and it looks neater too. It looks actually part of the overall art, which good lettering should be. Never forget about your lettering. If you're making comics, lettering is very much part of the artwork, and you should never ignore it or make it an afterthought. Perspective, definitely better. The anatomy, I think is definitely better. It's still in my art style. You know, I think if someone looked at these 2 pages, they'd be like, yeah, the same person drew these. My style has become more refined over the years, which is good. I'm glad that there's definitely some improvement. That makes me happy. I think it is kind of flat without shading. I probably should have done a little bit more with some shading and stuff, but it's not terrible. If I can find a better method, it's definitely something I need to look into in the future. And you know what? I think that's really it for that. Thank you all so much for watching. Please check out The Earthbound God over on Tapas. And also, if you like this video, well, please like it. And if you enjoy what I create and stuff, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm really close to 50 subs, and that would be a really awesome milestone to reach. And I definitely plan to do something special when I do. It's probably going to be like a giveaway, but I might do a giveaway along with taking requests. I'll be totally up for that. So thanks again. Please remember to wash your hands and stay safe. Bye.